Hello, everyone. This is Friedrich with turn summary, I should say video summary for the turns March 27 and March 28. For those who had to suffer through that video with no audio, I apologize. I'm making this video to kind of summarize those two turns. I hope. I hope I'll do a decent enough job to explore the things that happened. Now, you'll know that I actually am in. You might not know from here. I'm not gonna move move this around, although you may see by the time we're done. I am in April. This game is in April. I think we just wrapped up the first week of April, and basically, uh, I don't really want to get into that, but I also wanted to make the point that I don't really remember everything that happened or the situation as it was unfolding, but I'm certainly happy to cover this and explore with you what happened this turn with audio. Now, I'm not going to run through the turn. I'm hoping this video won't be too long and that we can just cover the highlights. Uh, so, basically, you've got this is Combat Reporter for those of you who have never seen this. It's kind of summarizes what's in the game itself. It can summarize the things like arrivals. So as you're watching it resolve and it says something arrived on the map, that'll be in here. But it also summarizes your report that you have, the ops report. It summarizes the the phases and um, segments and the combats that happen therein. Um, I think maybe not movements, but also there's the SIGINT report that we may cover here as well. So the Coast Watcher we can ignore. We do capture Finchhofen in combat, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. Again, if you've watched the video, if you suffered through it, you'll have seen the battle wherein we capture this, but and we'll get down there when we're looking at the analysis of the battles. But we do get this combat engineer regiment at Skagway. I'm not in a rush to, but I'll probably grab it and move it somewhere actually important. All right, moving on. We lost, yeah, and there's these summaries too. I love this because I can kind of see specifically where I may need to go fill in from losses. My carrier squadrons though are on auto replace. So because I don't want to miss something, and I want them always to be at max load if possible. Then we got some fuel issues. These are our expansions that happened on the 27th, Tillamook and Mayana. This is one of those remote bases that really I'm just doing it for points because I have the engineers to do so, and we spare. I consider them spare engineers. Maybe other players would be more efficient with their engineers. And then we've got repairs. Uh, Again, they're broken out into different sections so that while you can see it in the ops report, some of these are summarized in a way that allows you to hit what you really want to focus on at the time. Uh, and then I usually just skim through this briefly because it's just we're citing them, they're citing us, and it's fine. But then I like to check how my subs are doing, and also what I really like to observe is where we're attacking his subs. All right. And then here's our task force movements. What I've noticed here is there are some notifications like task force meetings and things, But what I'm looking for here, probably more than anything, this is just me, of course, is I like to look at where my task forces are arriving at off-map bases so that I can get them back out carrying the cargo or fuel that I want to get out to the front from these bases with extra. And then these are just this is mostly this is unknown. There's a lot of times a lot of information here, but in this case, it's just telling me about my supply supply trans aircraft. Uh, anyway, the aircraft supplying these Chinese bases, and then we got some unloading um, traffic jams here at Lay, so we'll have to figure that out. And I do something to fix that, but you may or may not notice it's not a big deal. Um, and I can just tell you, basically, I just ship everything to Finschhafen, which does have a regular port, and we now have naval support there, so we're offloading a lot quicker. And then I plan to shuffle all this stuff up to Madang anyway as I keep moving the front lines forward. And I don't mind if Madang becomes one of my major bases because I can still hit any of these Japanese air bases over here with my bombers. All right, so as we finish up the ops report, we can quickly look at SIGINT and we can see this summarizes all the SIGINT by categories, and I like that as well. So we can see the 2nd Tank Division is planning for an attack on Prome. I highly doubt that's going to play out as he would wish, I'm sure. One of the things I do here is there's a lot of guys at these bases, remote bases, of his the Japanese. This is Japanese locations, and a lot of times there's no point in knowing this stuff right now. Um, and so I don't really bother with too much of it. I mean, if I'm going to attack Nagoya, yeah, I'd like to know what's there. But right now, knowing that is kind of useless. Or Shanghai. We're way too far away from Shanghai. But one of the things I've tend to, so as I skim through this, one thing I will look at is where it shows a unit at a non-base. I want to know where that is. So this guy is somewhere in this area, probably getting ready to. He may just be sitting here for as a static unit, not planning to make any moves. But it gives me an idea of what if I don't have eyes on this on the map, if I don't see it physically showing on the map, then it's nice to know it's there. So I can if say for example if I have a base here that's important, I can know well he has something close, so he may come up this way or whatever. It's nice to know where he may have units behind the lines, not necessarily at bases, so I can know what he might be up to. I still don't know what he's up to, but it gives me a hint. And likewise, there's something here, although this is way up in Manchuria, so I can fairly quickly ignore that. And then radio, again, what I'm looking for is heavy volume because regular radio transmission, even heavy volume, might not necessarily mean anything. So a lot of these, of course, Tokyo. I mean, what am I going to do with Tokyo, right? But truck, this makes me wonder. Okay, does he have some kind of a task force he's putting together here, or shuffling air units, or something? Is something going on here at truck? Especially when you're notified twice, that may be a sign of something. And so what I'll do is I'll look on the it does show me on here and I know where truck is, but then I go to the War in the Pacific map and I find truck and I see if there's something I can find there. If I can't, I can't. But this gives me an idea of where to really focus in on. If you just see radio transmissions, It may not be enough. It won't necessarily show up on the map anything. But this here, so other than heavy volume and kind of like my intrigue there, Ominato, what am I going to do with that? Just like Tokyo, it's like, there's nothing I need to worry about at this time. But, um, I mean, it could indicate something I should be aware of, but it doesn't necessarily. But other than like looking at something that's close, like truck or something, I like to look at these places where there's no base. So I'll look here and I'll say, okay, maybe there's a task force moving in this area, and my subs are happy to know about that, right? But what I'm looking for is if there's something maybe in the middle of the sea when I click one of these, because that might indicate uh, something's incoming toward me. Now, I'm gonna so real quick, and I have been slow this whole time. Let's look at some of this stuff. So we can quickly look here. We bombed. I'm gonna skim over that because there's just some basic air base attacks. Tungu, we attacked also the air base, because as you know, my strategy has been to hit these airfields to keep them in disrepair. And Sion, that's his bombing us, which you would have seen all the summaries of these when you were watching the soundless video. Pegu as well. These are actually the sweeps, and then Kwajalein and Jalui and Changsha. Just again, you've seen all these. I'm trying to see if there's something I want to point out. Not really. Here at Pegu, because we have a ground offensive happening here. We're trying to suppress the troops, get them softened up, so when we're ready to actually assault, it'll be easier. Um, Same here at Finchhofen, because we're going to do a ground attack, and we'll talk about that momentarily. And then here's an here's one of the ground units at Pegu that we hit. Here's more ground units at Finchhofen that we hit. Shortlands, again, there were some remnants here. We have taken the base, but there's still remnants here that we need to clean up. More Shortlands remnants, and this is also Shortlands. And then this is him bombing us, and we're taking casualties. Uh, yeah, no spoilers. You may already know, but what happened to them. Let's see. So this is more Pegu ground troops. Okay, now I'm gonna skip down to amphibious. You would have seen this invasion, even though it was soundless. Yeah, Japanese are trying to take some of these bases here in the Andamans or south of them. Um, so that's that. Now, we're doing our bombardments here at north of Rangoon, near Tungu, like we usually do. Here's him doing a deliberate attack, and we take a lot of casualties, but we still hold. So I'm sure it's annoying, but it's very also annoying to him, but it's very costly to us doing so. And he's bombarding us on this road to Sion, as you see every turn so far. Okay, Finchhofen. Here's our assault. We do reduce the fortifications to 2. I don't know what they were before that, but then we end up capturing it with 110 to 1. Now, he has nowhere to retreat because we have all the paths closed off, and so he loses a lot of troops. But while he has, what, 6 units here, he loses only 2. And we'll get to checking that here in a second. Um, at Shortlands, he also loses quite a few troops, and of course also has nowhere to retreat to. But nothing is destroyed. However, we have captured the base. We're just trying to eliminate what's left here. Now we do a shock attack. Believe that was by tanks. And then you'll see here all this stuff, not just Shortlands. This is Shortlands wiped, but not just Shortlands, but some Finchhofen troops get wiped out by attrition. So we're cleaning these bases out of enemy troops. Not that it's necessary per se, because we do have the bases, and there's no way he will be able to take them back with what he has there for sure. But it's nice to just eliminate their presence so we can move on and advance to bigger and better things. Okay, so that's kind of the synopsis. Let's look at other real quick. See what's that. So we did a night naval bombardment, two actually here at Finchhofen, and one at. Sorry about that. I just had a quick sneeze. Okay. um, we also bombarded Shortlands. Now this is very challenging when he doesn't own the base. It's more challenging to hit the ground troops there. But see how um, much better the accuracy is when he's in the base versus when he's not. It's not too bad actually, comparatively even. But in any case, um, the he we have a lot more troops than he does actually at both of these bases. But to me, these ships are doing nothing anyway, and I figure all the softening we can do just helps our troops, helps our ground troops all that much more to take less damage on the return fire and also succeed in eliminating the enemy at the same time. All right, moving on. We hit these two subs, one by Trincomalee, one by Akyab, several times, and it looks like at least this one is likely destroyed. This one may or may not be. However, never trust these things because we just never. It seems like these subs come back from the dead all the time. So that's March 27. Now, if I could hopefully be even quicker, March 28, I doubt, but let's try it. So we have a patrol craft come in at LA. No big deal. I mean, nothing critical to the war effort. We're being told that we sank possibly three separate ships, two here near Ponape, one near Wenchao, which you click that and it doesn't show. I think well, I know that's near China, but anyway, moving on. So we see again, we know, hey, we lost a B-24D here, so maybe let's look into replacing those aircraft. And then, of course, we got um, a damaged state here. That's going to be resolved. We have ships that I'm trying to get in the thick of things, but as they take damage, they sometimes take major damage and need to go somewhere special to well, with a shipyard to actually get repaired. Okay. Melee, these are the upgrades of facilities. You can look at that if you like. I believe Shao Yang is his, but anyway. All right. A lot of these I don't stress over at this time because it's just yeah he's reconning me. Uh, that's to be expected. Okay. We do lose a pilot and I would guess the plane as well from VF-71. I believe this is Akyab. And then we have some repair issues that I just discussed, as well as some where it's like they're already ready to be put back into service. And then but all my carrier based well, even if they're not based, all my carrier squadrons have auto replacements. Now, this is from the Wasp, which is stuck still at Colombo, and so in the meantime, it's still getting auto replacements as needed. Now, sightings. Yeah, I don't know if you missed anything. My headphones just turned themselves off. I guess they didn't know I was talking. In fact, let me check something here real quick. All right. Well, anyway, we have ships here, sub activity here. I usually like to just keep an eye out for what might be standing out, especially where it says a sub entered port for repairs. Then I can look and see what kind of repairs they might need. Same thing as I talked about earlier. I'm looking for task forces that arrived at an off-map base and what I need to do to get it back going again. Um, you got some upgrades here. That's cool. And then got some still having these unload issues, but that's something I haven't solved as on March 28th. That's something I solve a little bit later. Okay. Then again, I'm looking at some Japanese SIGINT here. See what's going on here. Okay, we got 15th Army, which I probably could look at combat reports and see that he's there. But but yeah, so nothing stands out for me here. And then we'll look at radio and see here's another one up in Manchuria. And then if we scroll down, we do have pescadors and truck. Again, truck. Truck seems to be a major base. Wonder why. Okay, so I'm gonna start down here. So watch we are just bombing random places almost sometimes it feels like, but that also can be a good thing because it keeps them guessing. All right, Tungu hitting the airfield. Sion, he's hitting our airfield, and then Rabal. Um, just that Rabal is a major base that I doubt he's ever going to use again. I mean, in the sense of like a naval or air base, but I just like to keep it pinned down. Puchang, this is him sweeping primarily. It looks like at least the report here. Same with Pegu. This should be our sweeps, which don't hit anything. Jalui and we just have one port hit with 4 bombers. Changsha, he sweeps and bombs for some effect. Besides, we actually lose Hurricane 2C on the ground, at least one. You would have seen this if you watched the soundless video, but he likewise loses at least one Sally. And we'll take a look at the. I have the War in the Pacific March 29 up because that's the morning after March 28. And so we'll look at that, and you can kind of see here 3 destroyed by flak and 1 destroyed on the field. So we actually literally only just lost 1 Hurricane 2C, but he lost 3 Sallies. And we'll look at that here in a minute. But, yeah, just Changsha. Oh, I'm going backwards. Okay, so we're hitting his ground troops at Pegu again to soften him up. He's hitting our troops in China. We're hitting his troops at Finschhafen. Yeah, he still has some troops there. We want to finish them off. And more Shortlands. He still has troops even there. Even with all the attrition losses, he still has some devices, I guess. But we take some damage up in China from bombings, and we hit, even with severe storms, we're hitting something here in at Pegu. And then last but not least, well, maybe it is least, I don't know. But we do hit some stuff there at some more ground troops at Pegu. Because it breaks it out, the bases, I think, are showing where either you hit the base or you swept the base, and then the units are showing what the primary unit that was hit by the um, bombers. But if we look here, amphibious, nothing's there. Okay, ground. So these are the ground battles, and actually, sure, let's just do the ground battles. We bombard here near Rangoon as we do, near Tungu as we do. We destroy a couple of vehicles, and we lose something disabled. And he hits us up here on Ningxia. I think that it says near Ningxia. I think that is Ningxia that he hits. No, that's not true. It was near. He hits because we have a couple of things in Ningxia. So he hits what we have here and knocks them back into Ningxia. We lose a decent amount of troops there. Um, and moving on. Um, it looks like he's just bombarding us. He attacked on the 27th, damaged us a lot, but now he's just bombarding. Okay, moving past that, we have a bombardment on the road to Xi'an that has no effect. Now we attack again. Now it's 213-1. We own the base. He has no fortifications to hide in. He still has terrain, but he has all these other issues, malices, and we finish off a unit, and that is the last unit here. So we not only own Finschhafen now, but it has been cleared of enemy troops, and now we can move on. And Tungu bombardment, and Wuchang his bombardment of us. And it looks like that's basically it, but we can quickly look here. This is where we supposedly sank a couple of cargo ships. Here's one, here's the other. So on the surface, we submerged due to damage. We took no, I don't know how to read that. I mean, I don't know how to absorb that, but yeah, it looks like we hit this twice, two separate occasions. I mean, two separate contacts. We launched 8 torpedoes total, plus at least two. The Barb probably sinks two ships with all of its complement of torpedoes. And then here's the light cargo ship that was hit by one torpedo near Wenchao and sank, or reported to have sunk, which I'm going to take these three ships as real, and that we won't get a message later that says they're still in service. But that's the combat reporter. If I may, I'll show you real briefly what I would have shown you and talked a little bit about on the damage. Um, so aircraft losses, you would have seen this. He loses 4 sallies to flak. I think that's probably just 3, and then a couple of other things. We lose some things to ops, but also Hurricane Tusi. You can kind of see that. And also you would have seen it on the soundless video as well if you did watch that. Ship sunk last turn. We have the I-32 also according to this, but we'll take that with a grain of salt. Okay. Um, not bad. We actually had. I think this was not a. This was probably a good turn. Um, I couldn't tell you all the things that I would have been thinking at the time I made this video, and I have no idea why this is coming up. But let's just pull something up and close it. I don't know. Some kind of glitch. Okay, I'm not gonna take too long covering this. We are, you can see, we have something happening here. We're heading toward Kusai, um, but don't tell him. Um, and then we got Shortlands we're securing, but still he has something there. I think the reason I didn't attack, even though I had him on the ropes, is because of fatigue and disruption. But that does get cleaned up. Well, I won't give it away. You'll just have to watch the next few days. But here we secured Finchhofen, and we'll have to get some supplies into here. As you can see, it's got a supply issue. Now we can share supplies between these bases. I think that this will be relatively quick to go one hex over. Um, and then moving, um, I couldn't tell you what I might have been talking to you about last, uh, when I spent what 25, 30 minutes talking about the analysis of the turn. But so I apologize if there's something missing in between, but but this is a summary anyway. Well, I was hoping for it to be, and we okay. So we haven't yet started the march southwest. We will, and you'll have to keep watching to know what happens there. No spoilers. And I just recorded an April turn, so I my mind is there, and I'm realizing a lot happens between this day and the one I just recorded. But anyway, Burma is somewhat um, up for uh, it's somewhat fluid and somewhat static. We got static issues up here, static over here, but we have the ability to maneuver here, and we're going to take advantage of that. And again, well, let I'm not going to say too much, but we're the goal is to see what we can do about this corridor here, and with that opportunity. And then China is fairly static. It could be more fluid, except for he's able to build a decent wall that we just can't penetrate. And then in the south central east, however, whatever you want to call it, but he definitely has the strength here to push us around. He actually has strength here to push us around. And then up north, this guy is too quick for us to chase around, so we're pulling out of there. And like I've said before, I just want to reinforce and secure Hami and Chuan and Lan Chao, of course. But we'll see what he does here, and that kind of summarizes it. I hope this helps. And again, I apologize for the sound issue. I have no idea how that happened because it's supposed to record both the audio from the game and my voice. And when it doesn't even do the audio from the game, it makes me kind of wonder what could have happened. And also because I record 2 separate days, it's really weird that it didn't um, record either of those. Anyway, so pardon me, I'll leave it at that, and hopefully keep feeding you updates, and updates with sound. And thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.